Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I am Sunique and I have the latest edition of Total Tarot magazine. So let's open it up and see what we've got this time. Okay, so part 80, part 81, tarot deck and a tuck box. So let's have a little look at the deck first. That's what I usually do. Have a look at the deck. It's not one I'm familiar with at all. Okay, so this is the title card. This is the back, reversible, yeah, fully reversible, so that's good. So it seems you've got a border around the outside edge of the card to contain the image, and here we've got the Fool starting on his journey with his hand on his head and the city in the background, so he's leaving the city behind there. Magician. All these fiery arrows coming towards them, and there's a figure down here. These are quite dark images, so if your eyesight isn't great then you might have a challenge with this deck, I think. High Priestess. Oh, they're coming to the High Priestess for advice, maybe an oracle, and she's being lifted here and transported. Empress. Again, quite like the positioning of the High Priestess. The Empress is also on a throne, but here we have to rise, you know, we have to stay down here if we want to get towards the Empress. She's quite protected here. Emperor, who's a little bit closer. Hierophant. And the Lovers. So I presume this follows a story that I'm not familiar with. Tarot of the 1001 Nights. Was that a book? It's not one I'm familiar with. So we've got a black and white horse. And again, somebody being transported. In fact, that's a camel. Okay, so we've got, oh, and a leopard. See, these are so difficult to actually see the illustration. What a shame. It'd be nice if they were, you know, filled the card a little bit more. So we have Harmony here, which is the Justice card at number 8. Hermit. Oh, beautiful Hermit. The Wheel. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? It's a sort of a pool there. Courage, which would be the Strength card. So yeah, this little figure here and this big serpent here. The Bound Man. Oh, for the Hanged Man, we've got a bound man being pulled along. Death. Running away. Temperance. Yeah, there's definitely a story here that I'm not familiar with. Look at this for a Devil card. Wow. A tiny little figure down there. What an interesting deck. Danger for the Tower card. Got lots of serpents here. And what looks like crystals, and again this little figure. The stars. Look at that loving couple there looking at the stars. The moon. There. The sun. And Judgment. An angel. and the world. Okay, so we're starting with the cup suit here. Oh, that is a beautiful image. Two. Three. Very idyllic. 4. 5. Getting sage advice, I think there. The 6. 7. These are definite stories, aren't they? 8. 9. 10 of cups. And the court cards of the page. Knight. Hunting, maybe. Queen. And the king. Pentacle suit. Ace. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And the 10. Page. Knight. Queen. And the king. Okay, so the 1 suit. Interesting how these stags have these robes on, these ornate tapestries. So the suit of 1s has got this emblem there. Cups has got the cup. And Pentacles has got the disc at the top. So, although it says it at the bottom, so we're covered. Okay, the 2 of 1s. 3. 4. 5. Very interesting 5 of 1s. 6. 7. Oh, caught a merman in the fishing net. Oops. 8. 9. 10. Page. The knight. Queen. and the king. Small king. Okay, final suit. The swords, sorry. We've got a sword here, a scimitar. I think that's what they're called. And we've got this bed in the sky. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Is she getting in or is she climbing out? Either way, she's feeling trapped. A 9. Oh, I like this for a 9 of swords. Look, you can see this dark angel lifting this figure out. Oh, that's very good. 10. Page. The knight. Queen. And finally the king. Okay, so some of these cards I can see the association quite clearly, and some of them not so much. So it's a deck I would have to sort of study, I think, to get the full worth out of it. Shall we? I'll tell you what, we'll look at the magazines next, and then we'll pull a couple of cards and see how they read. Okay, let's do that. So here we go with issue 80. Hopefully I can get all this on so you can see it. Okay, so this is the front. So we have one of the cards here on, that was the chariot, wasn't it, with the camel and the black horse and the leopard there. Oh, we've got 2 figures. We can actually see it a bit better here, but we've got 2 figures actually in that chariot. Okay, so our article, Bringing the Tarot to Life, Part 3, Thinking Outside the Box Can Make Our Readings Dynamic. 78 card pickup. We used to, what do we use to the 52 card pickup if somebody dropped the playing cards on the floor? Oh, playing 52 card pickup. So here we are, 78 card pickup for some reason. So how does this work? Instead of placing a number of cards in a normal layout, we take the whole pack and bend the short edges back. When you let the cards go from your hands, they will spring forward in a fountain, fall into the floor. After this, there will be a large spread in front of you that you can walk around and through. Oh, okay, I'm not sure about that. Pick and mix. When using at the 78 card pickup technique, look at patterns and contrasts. Do majors like strength or courts like the King of Cups dominate over the minors? Interpretation overload. So padding out an interpretation. 3 sentence readings. And there's an example there of a 3 sentence reading. So they're showing the Los Garabeo Tarot, which we haven't had yet. It's coming with parts 88 and 89. It's a little preview there of what it looks like. Okay, so yeah, we've got numbers again and again. This is a Marseille technique, isn't it? So we've got some keywords for the number 3 here, main ones, and then we've got some more here. Numerology, geometry and Kabbalah. Challenges. Okay, so if you work in Marseille, this might be quite useful. Although we have Kabbalah here, which is more Thoth based, isn't it? Okay. the short story spread. So we've got a spread here. So we're just using the major arcana to summarise the current life cycle in a simple way and examine its evolution. This is how the cards are laid out. Reading and interpretation of the cards. Okay, so we've got our tarot spread positions here. The first being the end of the last cycle, then we have the beginning, the present, the first possibility, the first outcome, the second possibility, and the second outcome, and the synthesis of that spread with this deck, actually. And there'll be an example reading in the next issue. And the Tarot of the Thousand Nights, this is the deck library. Okay, so it's Arabian Tales by a French painter who took 3 years to create a series of illustrations. And then it became a deck in 2004. So it's got a storytelling vision, the beauty of the Middle Eastern culture and the charm of historic folk tales. So do you need to know these folk tales really to be able to use this deck? It says a beginner who wants to study this deck in depth must pay attention to all the details in a card. Well, that's really quite difficult given the size of the images. Okay, so then you're looking at it intuitively. It says to learn about this deck as a reader, you are advised to try for a moment to forget all you know about the tarot. Imagine the story to which this image belongs. Take notes about your thoughts. And it says it's not necessary to know all the tales. It's enough to imagine the characters and situations starting from the illustration. So like I thought, you use it as a storybook. Yeah, storybook technique. Here, like the Fool, it says new initiatives, inspiration, travels, irresponsibility, isolation and slavery. Just scanning the card meanings here, they are pretty much Rider-Waite-Smith meanings. They don't seem at all aligned to the deck. Just my first impression. Okay, so the different names. Justice is harmony, strength is courage, the hanged man is the bound man, and the tower is danger. And a little bit more about these different cards here. So there's a story here which is quite interesting. The Persian king, with a name I cannot pronounce, who has been betrayed by one of his wives, decides to kill all his wives after the wedding night. The beautiful and noble, can't say that word, horrified by this brutality, asks her father to give her in marriage to the king in the hope of convincing him to stop his outrageous behaviour. In order to save herself, she devises a trick. Every evening she would tell the king a story, postponing the ending until the next day. The king spares her to learn the end of the story, but every day she starts a new story, avoiding telling the king how the tale is going to end. When she has no more stories to tell, the king spares her life. It doesn't actually say what card that is related to there. Anyway, let's look at the minus cards. So if we go Two of Cups, it says business relations, falling in love, end of romantic bliss, dangerous passion. Four of Pentacles, fruitful investments, thrift, greed, usury. I don't know what usury means. Worries about work. Do you get that from that image? Ace of Wands, spirit of initiative, departure, new creations, upset joy, excessively strong family ties. Do you see that from that image? Seven of Swords, revealing of a secret, decisive idea, subterfuge, conflicts and shady deals. It looks to me like somebody's reading a map. yeah, I don't think this is very helpful. But I've said this before. It's a jumping off point, I suppose. Anyway, there's a visual representation of all of the major arcana. Where to go in the magazine if you want to read the articles. And a sneak peek of the next issue, being part 81. Okay, so we have a new article called Transformative Tarot. Helping people to embrace change is one of tarot's superpowers. That's an amazing image, isn't it? This is from the Tarot Apocalypsis, which we've already had. Death is a card that is very closely associated with transformation, metamorphosis and wonder, or closing and another opening. So, given a helping hand, 3 elements, the greater mystery, a new approach. So using the 3 of Wands there as an example of a new approach. Lessons from ancient Greece, smart transitions, and Demeter in the tarot. Another Greek myth, Persephone and Demeter, usually the Empress. Smart transitions. Rituals, magical techniques that can be applied to the tarot is coming in future issues, apparently. We're on to the number 4. Have some keywords for that. The numerology, geometry and Kabbalah. Go. Represented as a square. Some more Kabbalah images that relate to the number 4 in the Marseille tradition. We have the second part of that short story spread with an example of these cards drawn here and how to read it and how to adapt the spread. Sacrifice and Tarot. We've got the Fae Tarot again. I love that. I love that deck. I love it. But only since I bought the big guidebook, that's when I really started to connect with this deck, and I did it for a whole month and loved it. So what's sacrifice? The 4 suits can give important clues as to what a querent should sacrifice and why. Okay, so if it's Wands, it's intentional. If it's Cups, it's emotional. Swords, it's intellectual. And Pentacles, material. Gentle words. Yeah, sacrifice is a bit of a scary word. Got a religious feel to it. Or it requires too much effort. Give up, let go, offer up, part with, surrender or yield are alternative words for sacrifice. Very strange articles in this just lately. Anyway, Tarot in the East. This is the first part of a series. Diverse countries and cultures of Asia have provided rich inspiration for many tarot decks, and we've got an illustration of some of the cards from the Manga Tarot with parts 46 and 47. Colour coded. European beginnings. The West looks East. Asian inspired decks. So some examples of decks that have been produced there. We've got an overview of the minors. Again, practice makes perfect. Let's go in the magazine. What is coming? Tarot of the Pagan Cats. So if you like cats, this one will be very welcome. We've got a cat riding an owl there. That's weird. Okay, so we're learning about transformative tarot and the number 5, more on the Asian tarot, and the numeral is number 6. That's what we're getting next issue, or the next mailing. Okay, so that was part 80 and part 81 of Total Tarot Magazine with the Tarot of 1001 Nights. A story-driven deck, I would say. I'm wondering if there is an actual dedicated guidebook to this deck. Might be one that's worth looking at. My only criticism really is the size of the images. Very, very small. But yeah, beautiful artwork. Such a shame. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and until my next video. Bye friends. Bye.